I, on behalf of Presidium of NFED, confer and endorse the Lifetime Achievement Award on our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Sriparna B Baruah, Head, Center for Industrial Extension, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Guwahati, Assam, for her impeccable contribution to entrepreneurship development training and livelihood promotion.
Today,
Thank
you. It gives me a great honor to address such an enlightened group, and particularly on a day which is so much relevant to us, the International Women's Day. I would like to flag, I think I have 10 minutes time with me, so I would like to basically draw upon two issues here. Today, as we all know, today we are looking at International Women's Day, and the theme today is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. And the hashtag which is being used everywhere is break the bias. I wouldn't like to dwell much on the first theme, because there I don't think we need to deliberate. Yes, gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow definitely is the answer, because 50% of the population, if they are not involved, how do we have a sustainable tomorrow? That's a fact, and I think for a learned audience like this, I need not harp on that. The second thing is break the bias. When it's a lifetime achievement, you tend to reflect on, are there biases? So are there biases? Yes. And so I tried to look at my journey and see whether there has been biases. And if at all there are biases, how does a woman, come out of this, break the bias? Because the lessons that we have learned the hard way could be very important things for the new generation. Because whatever we talk about equality, I also believe that, I have experienced that to free the world from bias, a lot of strength is required in a woman. There are known biases, there are unknown biases, there would be subtle biases. I don't know whether all of you would agree, not agree, but the fact that, women have, whoever has gone professionally forward, has found his or her own mechanisms of coping, her own mechanisms of emerging stronger. And that's a tribute I think we need to pay to all the women all the powerful women who are here today in this group, which NFED has very rightly identified and is wanting to acknowledge such women. Now, if I look at the 3 decades of my work experience, I feel biases are there and will continue to be there. But I would like to share a few learnings from my professional career. One is, whatever it is, if we are passionate about what we do, passion ultimately wins over any bias that the society could put in. So that is the first learning I look at it. And I think it's important to realize that once we are passionate about something, we forget all the other things and we become, we tend to follow our passion, and ultimately we can always do what we want to do. The second thing which I have seen is, to break biases, perseverance, determination are very, very critical. Whatever it is. It's perseverance and it's very important that perseverance and determination is extremely important. And at any point of time, if the fact gender is put across to you, one has to throw back through performance. Anything about gender is put, so throw back through performance. We are very happy that Professor Ganesan has taken this initiative, but being a International Day and mostly a women forum, I would also like to, throw that, unknowing, I always believe a woman to be considered a par with a man has to be a little superior to a man. I don't know, people who have worked for long would agree, not agree, but these are some of my personal experiences. Sometimes it's better to disconnect the gender from your head totally. as we work. It's better to disconnect the gender from our head totally. It's ultimately, it's women have to believe in themselves. What is required is focus, determination, and dedication. So these are the three things which are extremely important, irrespective of whichever career we go. Now, since I have been involved in entrepreneurship, and by a choice, I have from pure academics, I've gone to field, then again come back to academics. So if you ask me what my experience has been, it's been a mixed bag of a lot of field work. I think about 8-10 years, it was totally dedicated field work to livelihood projects. First 10 years of my life was totally on pure academics, where I was working with a management institute. And now it's a mixed bag of, so it's as I see most of us are academics here. So we have the advantage of getting a larger perspective from an academic background, and often a totally field person doesn't get that. So I think that is something I have documented in my life. Since I come from the field of entrepreneurship, my experience is that entrepreneurs, everyone cannot be an entrepreneur. I've been teaching, have I become an entrepreneur in spite of working so many years in an institute of entrepreneurship? So there's certain qualities which we always associate with an entrepreneur: a never give up, an attitude of never giving up, having a dreaming big, ability to leave a comfort zone. Now, these are qualities which we normally associate with an entrepreneur. But end of the day, if you see that any career that we get into, whichever, I may be a doctor, I can be an engineer, whichever, if I want to excel in whichever field I am, these are the qualities which sustain us. So basically, if I, personally, I do not know any of you, but if I try to track and find out, we will find that most of the qualities I've talked about, these entrepreneurial qualities will be there in each of you, because of which you are where you are today, because of which you are being acknowledged today. So ultimately, I would like to say that entrepreneurship, having entrepreneurial qualities is a must for every person who wants to excel in life, and more so for women, because along with doing well in in her career, what is also important is the ability to know, unknowingly, having to cope with a lot of biases which are there. One is, there are two sides of the bias. Since the theme today, the hashtag is break the bias. The two aspects of bias. One is that there is a bias already prevalent. The second part of it is that, do we, justify some of the things by saying that, I have so many roles to perform, that is why I'm not able to achieve what I have to achieve. So that is, again, do we take a easier route out? We need to question ourselves on that. And here I would like to quote the book by Sharon Schanberg, which says, lean in. I don't know, many of you must have read the book, where, if you look at the book, I was getting a lot of myself in the book. That knowingly, unknowingly, we think that there are a lot of qualities associated with our feminism. And a woman, if she is often trying to be a little assertive, is often clubbed as being too dominating as a male characteristic. So these are some of the biases all of us must have faced. But the fact that we have been able to, because what is required today when we're looking at gender equality towards a sustainable tomorrow, what is required, that as women, we need to be inspiration for other young women. And the lessons that we've learned from life are lessons that we need to share with everyone. So these are some of the thoughts that came to me. And I'm sure each of you, when you will be expressing your experience, you will have similar experiences. I come from a region where women, luckily for us, are, that bias is much lesser in Northeast. One is because of a lot of tribal states nearby, and more so because Assam being very near to Meghalaya, in Meghalaya, we have the matriarchal society. We don't have a dowry system there. And women, girls, when they are born, they are, parents do celebrate when girls are born. So these are some of the pluses of the region from which I come from. Maybe that is something, of course. And when we nurture future, futures to young girls, we have to build in certain things like this. Because if I talk about, since it's a lifetime achievement, I would just like to share something very personal here. My mother was the force behind when she said, you get married is okay. You don't have to do stitching and other things. Do reading, read more. First, you be sure that you can sit, stand on your own feet. Then you can think about marriage. So that is something, I think, a lesson which is very important for us to play as we nurture younger girls. Because often I also find that there is a conflict, because many of the women, mothers, particularly talking about women of our age, many of the mothers, they want their daughter to study, to get into a job, but also at a certain age, forcing herself to think and, give up the career and then also compromise by getting married. Here also we need to be clear about supporting a girl to actually nurture what her passion is, where she wants to go, and that is how the ecosystem will, because as mothers, this support becomes extremely important. And once we get the support, it's that ecosystem which gets in, the confidence comes in. So with that, I would like to close. I think I've already crossed 10 minutes of my time, which was given to me, and look forward to hearing